Good morning, John Hayes here with Hayes Family Farm. Here this morning with Jared Hayes, and Jordan's on the camera over here getting the video for us. So wanted to talk a little bit about our sweet potato project that we've grown this year. This is a complete no-till gardening system here. We've been no-till since 2021 in this garden, and prior to that it was lots of tillage with the rototiller every year to plant the crop, and then come in here and do a lot of heavy weeding. We use a lot of mulch. We did use cover crops in the winter time, but we've committed to a 100% no-till garden system since 2021 here. And this year, even though we've had a really dry late summer and early fall, we've got what I feel like is a pretty respectable sweet potato crop out here, and wanted to just spend a little time showing that and some of the reasons why that I feel like it's a nice potato crop.
And especially because sweet potatoes need a lot of water to really thrive, and so that's why it's special that we've been able to get a decent amount of good quality potatoes even without any rain, or hardly any rain, for the past 2.5 months.
Exactly. Yeah, since the 1st of August we've had 3.3 inches of rain here, and that's the time that these potatoes are developing and building a nice big potato. So we've grown much better potato crops in the past with a tillage system as far as the size of the crop, but we haven't grown them in this healthy of a soil in the past either. So the last 2 or 3 years we haven't gotten a very good sweet potato crop. We've had dry summers and periods of dry weather, and the soil wasn't resilient enough and healthy enough, even though in those times of drought, to produce the kind of crop we're seeing this year. So obviously this isn't a bumper crop, but again, I'm very pleased with what we've done here. Jared started planting these potatoes. Well, we started these slips on our own. Jared starts them
1st of May.
Yeah, mid-April, 1st of May. You start them in the inside under the warmth, and we grow our own slips. And as the slips get ready, he comes out here and plants them in the ground no-till. And we started planting out here sometime around mid-May, and we usually plant up to about mid-June, and then after that you don't have enough time to get sweet potatoes to produce. So about mid-May to mid-June is when we try to get all the sweet potatoes planted. Jared, you want to talk just a little bit about how you plant the sweet potatoes when you come out here?
Yeah, so when the slips are growing, I wait until each slip is about 8 inches long or so, 8 to 10 inches long. That way it's got a good amount of leaves on it, and we'll have plenty of length for me to put some of it underground and still have some leaves above ground. And I just take one of these soil knives out here. I come out here and I prepare the ground by using the weed eater to remove any plants, cover crop, anything that's here currently, and then I lay down a thick layer of mulch, and that mulch is key in water retention and preventing evaporation in these later months in the summer when it's dry.
What kind of mulch are you using?
So I just use hay mulch. We've got some square bales left over from a couple years ago that are perfect for just using as a good cover on the ground around our crops. That mulch, along with water retention, also suppresses weeds and any other unwanted plants in the area. So then once I've got the mulch down a good 3 or 4 inches thick, I come in with one of these soil knives, and I go in at almost a 45-degree angle, but not quite, maybe a little bit more of a shallow angle. I just stick this soil knife down in the ground about like this, and then you can lift up and pretend this is a potato slip. I stick that down in the ground, plenty of the roots down in there, and then I just kind of set it down in there, and there'll still be some leaves sticking up out of the mulch. And if it's not dry, or if it's not wet and rainy at the time, then you really have to water them for the first week to get them established and get the roots in the ground. So I'll bring a garden hose out here and just go up and down the rows for the first week or so, just to make sure they have plenty of water. And then a couple months in, you know, mid to late July, I'll come out here and pull whatever weeds are in the sweet potato patch. There wasn't too many this year. And that's really all I've done other than coming out here to harvest them this week.
Yeah, Jared started harvesting a few days ago, and we've got two varieties out here. There's a Purple Majesty, I think's the name of it, but it's a purple Japanese potato. And Jordan's getting some pictures of those right now.
They have white flesh.
Yeah, they have purple skin and the white flesh. And then over here, these orange ones are a Beauregard, which is a very commonly grown potato.
Your more traditional orange flesh.
Yeah, little juicier flesh and the traditional sweet potato. So the Japanese purple ones over here, this is what came off of this patch over here. We dug some up here just this morning, these Beauregards. These Beauregards right here, we just pulled some of them up out of the ground this morning, and you can see there's places in here where it's not a very good hill. You know, this isn't a very good hill. There's an okay amount of potatoes here, but not much size to them. One that we got the fork in right there. But some of these have pretty nice size to them. You know, Beauregards can get really big if they have the opportunity to, but again, for the dry weather we've had this year, I'm very pleased with the size of this potato crop, and wanted to showcase what can be done in a no-till system growing sweet potatoes. So we came just to give a little background to this. We had a cover crop on here over the winter. Like Jared said, just prior to planting, he came in here just simply with a weed eater and knocked down the cover crop that was here to make room, or to be able to get to the soil and plant the potatoes as he told you he planted them a while ago. Come over here and we can look at the soil a little bit. Kind of got things turned around here, but the sweet potato crop doesn't provide much aggregation and a lot of roots in the soil, so our aggregation's kind of dwindling out here at the moment. But when you look, you can see there's a lot of aggregation that's been here. And one thing we need to remember about a soil aggregate is it will only survive for about 30 days till it dies off, and another one has to be built to replace it. So these sweet potatoes have been in the ground here for almost 5 months now, and the only living root that's been out here has been the sweet potato plant. So our aggregation's starting to go away a little bit, but once these potatoes are harvested, we're going to be coming in here with a cool season cover crop that's going to have a lot of rye and winter triticale in it, a few other species as well, and that's going to stimulate the soil biology to start building aggregates again right here on those roots. So there's some darkness to the soil. There's lots of biological activity. We find earthworms in here, lots of pores and lots of channels.
There's still some moisture in that. You can see by the difference in color of what he's holding in his hand there that was just dug up versus some of the things that were dug yesterday that sat in the sun yesterday afternoon. That's dried up now, but there's still some moisture down in here. Like this, it's not tacky necessarily. I mean, you could almost roll that up into a little ball, but there's still some moisture in here, even though this hasn't had, well, we had about an inch of rain 2 weeks ago.
2 inches.
I think 2 inches of rain 2 weeks ago, but because of how dry it was before that, all that got soaked in and used up pretty quick. And like he was saying, there's not a lot of root activity in here because sweet potatoes, unlike grasses, don't really put a lot of root coverage down in the soil. But we still have decent water infiltration around here because you can see all these pores and holes and spaces inside the soil that, see, there's a clump of earthworms right there. We've got a lot of bug activity in here, even though there's not a lot of roots. I've seen a lot of pill bugs down in here, the roly-polies. and there's tons and tons of worms in this soil, which is helping keep it loose and porous so that water can get in there and it can breathe just the right amount and make room for the potatoes to grow.
Yep, good points, Jared. So as far as the 6 principles of soil health, obviously we've explained our context here a little bit for you. You can see with the mulch that we've put on here, we're keeping the soil armored. We're keeping a living root in the soil as often as possible, basically almost at all times. We're minimizing disturbance by not doing tillage out here, no tilling everything.
Yeah, this digging is the most disturbance that any part of our garden ever sees.
Yeah.
And we try to get that covered up and roots in it as quickly as we can afterwards.
Yeah. And we're encouraging diversity out here by, as soon as this monoculture crop of sweet potatoes comes off, we're planting a diverse cover crop in here that'll have some grasses and some legumes and even some brassicas in it, and that'll promote some diversity. And we also practice animal integration on this. We've had cattle and pigs on this garden a couple of times in the last year and a half, so we're applying all the principles of soil health to this and really starting to reap the benefits of the work we've been putting into this no-till system over the last, 4 years now, I guess it's been. Anything else?
I think that's pretty much all on the sweet potatoes.